Hey everybody, ronarray here, and my progress with EK Ignite Elementalist is going pretty good. I finished my Astrolab setup, started farming, and improved the build significantly. So in this video, I want to give a pretty nice update showcasing what I changed and what is my current version of the build. I will also give some pointers in terms of how to improve your damage, how to make the build stronger, and what is the most important thing to upgrade first. I will also do a pretty quick breakdown for items and my current POB that I'm using at the moment. Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you appreciate such build updates, and let's go. So now let's talk about the upgrades and things that I changed. And first thing, which I definitely recommend to do ASAP when you will be able to farm currency, is swapping your wand. So from Lictus to Grace of the Goddess. Grace of the Goddess, if it will have like 40% of physical as extra for all numbers, is going to provide about 35 to 40% of additional damage. It could be even high for some particular builds, and I definitely recommend to get that ASAP, especially since Grace of the Goddess right now been fallen in price. You can actually pick the Grace of the Goddess with like higher extra as fire and a little less extra as cold or lightning. Generally, the wand right now is somewhere between like 10 to 20-25 divines, it depends on the economy. However, it's definitely worth the investment because it's improving your damage by a mile. So swapping the Lictus being the step number one. After that, I also replaced the shield. So compared to the shield that we had before, right now it has +1 level of all physical spell skill gems. That change is going to improve damage too, but if you don't have currency for it, don't over focus on the shield. Usually I would go for it only if you can get a pretty decent shield for like only a few divines at the maximum. I also replaced the gloves too. Right now, I still have like both implicits, ignites you inflict spread to other enemies, and inflict fire exposure on hit. But on top of that, I also get like ignites you inflict deal damage faster, some life, and chaos resistance, which help the damage a lot. I also replaced the amulet with a Replica's Dragonfang Flight. You can get a Replica's Dragon Flight for not that much currency at the moment, and it can give a pretty nice damage improvement against single targets. Allocating Whispers of Doom can also save a decent amount of points for you, so don't worry much about increased reservation efficiency. You usually need like 7 to 9%, and it's going to be absolutely alright. So for the rest of the item, there's also a pretty cool upgrade with a helmet. Since you can use a ray right here, you can use an implicit with Syrian Exarch implicit modifier, increase mana cost efficiency. That mana cost efficiency is going to help you by a mile with mana, so I definitely recommend to roll it on any helmet that you are using, even if it's going to be like lower tier. And physical damage from hits taken as cold, just helping out with survivability. Getting +1 level of socketed projectile gems and projectile pierce can help with clear too, but it's not too important, so don't worry much about that. For the main skill, I'm still using the normal Ethereal knives. And I believe that swapping to MASSACRE would make sense when you have even more damage, but at the moment, since some content could feel a little tankier, I believe that using normal Ethereal knives could be recommended. So if your damage is close to mine or lower, I recommend to stay with the normal ones, and if you have like much more damage than I am and closer to Uber version at the moment, you can swap the skill. So another big upgrade for a very low price is getting Ethereal Knives level 21. At the moment there's not a lot of them on the market, but you can go and try to corrupt one of those yourself. They should go approximately for 90 chaoses at the moment of filming, but they might jump after I will recommend that, so feel free to level up a few Ethereal Knives gems, quality them, and just try to corrupt them yourself. So for the supports is Combustion, Cruelty, Inspiration, Swift Affliction, and Burning Damage. Everything stays the same. And another great upgrade that I got is Supreme Ostination. For that, I got Elegant Hubris 125 and 100 which just provides supreme ostination, so we can ignore attributes and just drop them from all the items. I recommend to get any hubris with supreme ostination ASAP. However, if your budget is higher and you want to get a cool bonus, you can look into something nice in that place. Right here I have gain 1 endurance charge every second if you've been hit recently. This is the best possible bonus that you can get. However, jewels like that could jump and be kinda expensive occasionally, so if you don't have currency for it, there is a different way how you can get your endurance charge. So initially, if you will look at POB, you can just get a small cluster jewel with enduring composure. That one is pretty cheap and going to give you the same bonus, so like 1 endurance charge every second if you've been hit recently. And if you want to do it with a jewel instead, so you will need to search for hubris, set the hubris, set supreme ostinations, and set the sockets Spain attendant. Filter the nodes and add endurance charge right there. So right here endurance charge, eternal resilience. After that you can just search and all of the options are going to work for you. You can click like search maximum amount, open trade URL and check the market for all of them. However, I believe that it might be too expensive to get such jewel at the moment, so just going for enduring composure might be significantly easier. And next step is Light of Minion. Light of Minion with fire damage is absolutely amazing at the moment. It gives about 20% of more damage and it's absolutely worth it the same way like the wand. If you have the currency for it and it's not too expensive at the moment, I definitely recommend to go and get that. So just place it right here to get the bonus. So on the left, I also added the cluster jewel. Right here we have Sadist, we have like Prismatic Heart, and sorry, Doriani's Lesson. Doriani's Lesson is actually not that bad too, I might actually pick it back a little later, just because getting additional Leech is always nice. And to the right I have one medium cluster jewel too, with like Endbringer, Empowered Envoy, and Chaos plus Mana Regeneration. Those are great. Next up is just getting the jewels, and for the jewels I recommend to aim for like damage elements deal damage faster, damage over time multiplier, and some additional like increase maximum life. So that's usually what you should aim for. This jewel would be even better, so like double multiplier and damage faster, but those could be very expensive and can go up to like 20 and higher divines. At the moment I just sniped that jewel for a very low price. I think I paid about 7 divines for it, and I think it's absolutely worth it if it's cheap and you have the currency. If you don't over focus on the jewel, just get what is available. Something like that should cost about 100 chaoses at maximum. So next up is tattoos, and for the tattoos I recommend to use Tattoo of Hinicora's Shaman. That tattoo is very simple, it's just giving you mana regeneration and you will need about like 8 to 10 of those. You can get them very cheap from like 10 to 15 chaoses at the moment, maybe it will jump a little, but generally Hinicora shouldn't be expensive. So use 8 of them to compensate for the mana and replace your flasks. If you have the budget, you already can use Red Nightmare, but at the moment the price for Red Nightmare is absolutely insane. So if you have the money, get that together with tattoos, the same way that I did, but if you don't, you can completely ignore it, it's not too important and your block is just going to be a little lower. My block at the moment, as you can see, is like 75 for attacks and 74 for spell damage. I think it's a very good result, which we can stop at. I got the block right here for spell, and my basic block is just coming from the Red Nightmare. Even if I will drop it completely, I'm still going to be about like 51% of normal block, and that's practically going to be it. If you don't have Red Nightmare, I recommend you to use Rumi's Concussion as a flask, because it's going to help you a lot with the block, especially in the bad situations. You also probably noticed that I currently have like Whispers of Doom from my amulet, so I saved a lot of points by not going to the right. I miss the Leech right now just to save 2 points too, but I might get it back a little later when I will have a little more levels and I might swap some parts of the build. Now let's look at the POB in terms of what's happening there. So at the moment, build is around like 10 millions of DPS when you're doing the courses and you're using Flame Surge for a single target. Don't forget about that. And I will keep improving some parts of it further on. However, I believe that's a pretty nice point when you're surviving alright just with block. So for the block, I'm usually going like that. And you can deal some damage to enemies too, so you can keep farming the currency up until the next upgrade. Out of that update, make sure that you're getting like Red Nightmare last, because I believe the jewel at the moment is very overpriced, even for the jewel that provides like a lot of block. If you want to spend more points, you can always just take Whispers of Doom with points and just allocate something very basic like Aggressive Bastion or even as a mountain to get more block early if you just struggle with survivability. But I believe that endurance charges and just like 50 to 60% block is fixing survivability just alright, even before you will be able to get the jewel. And for the rest of the things, I believe getting like pretty good boots is very important, like higher movement speed, some life, and you can get increased buff for the golems and extra damage, like as fire probably would be perfect, but I run out of core by rolling that. Gloves are probably the most important trait, and belt gives me practically barely anything, so it just gives me like life in there. I will probably replace belt soon too. The trick with the helmet and mana is going to provide a lot of quality of life, and for just flasks, using a Zero Promise and Cinder Swallow is recommended. For the Cinder Swallow, I have like regenerate life per second during effect, and enemies ignited by you during effect takes increased damage, together with Recover Energy Shield. I think that's probably the best options at the moment for Cinder Swallow for that build. I will keep farming and improving the build in the next few days, so stay tuned for the next update while you're farming for the stuff which is already there. EK at the moment still feels very good for everything except maybe a late stage bossing, and it's pretty comfortable to play and farm with it, so I'm definitely enjoying it. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope your league is also going great. See you next time, and ronarray out.